Here we are. So welcome back, everyone. This is episode, I don't even know.
You lose track.
Yeah, you literally lose track. But we have a very special guest with us today.
Yeah.
Her name is Stephanie.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're a part of the same club. And I'm going to let you take over and tell your story. But welcome. We have tissues.
Yeah.
We can pause whenever.
I'm going to need them. So as you said, my name's Stephanie. And
Do you prefer Steph?
Steph.
Yeah,
Steph.
Yeah, Steph. All right, sorry.
Stephanie just sounds weird. It's like I'm getting in trouble or something.
Okay.
So I'm here to tell my story. And obviously we've connected because I lost my daughter Alessia to stillbirth last year in September. On the 15th of September to be precise. Here we are.
Sorry.
Thank you. It just sucks. It sucks that, essentially, what do they say? 1 in 60 pregnancies end in stillbirth. And
I didn't know that.
did you not know that?
No, all I know is 6 a day in Australia.
Yeah. And
I didn't know the 1 in 60.
1 in 60. And it's, you never think you will be that one in the 1 in 60.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy of, like how common it can be, and like how once you've been through it, you meet other people that have gone through similar situations, and hence why, we've connected over this, and our little angels of,
They were probably being cheeky in heaven together.
Yeah, brought us together. So I don't know, where do I start?
I reckon start before Alessia, the journey to have her.
Yeah. I'll start. We got married in November 2019.
Beautiful, before COVID.
Yeah, so just before COVID. So that was all good. And then just after our wedding, our plan was to go on a honeymoon to Europe.
Okay.
So we booked Europe.
Is this for 2020?
Yeah, for 2020. So we were all excited. And anyway, we were sort of holding off trying for a baby because obviously I wanted to go overseas. I
actually reckon a lot of people that get married, they want that first year to just be husband and wife.
Yeah.
And then, I get that.
Yeah.
I understand
I think ours was like our holiday was going to be family and stuff, but it was going to be a bit of partying, Mykonos and all of that. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it properly. So anyway, and then COVID hits in 2020. And it was about March when I think everything shut down.
Yeah, March.
And that's when we were like, okay, does not look like we're going overseas. So you know what? Let's just try and just see what happens. The start, it was all, fun and games. You're just chill when COVID, during lockdown, if it happens sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fast forward about 10 months later.
Okay.
So it wasn't happening. And, every month you get your period and you're like, seriously?
Yeah.
Really? And, it might be late one day and I'd be doing pregnancy tests and you're always seeing those negative tests.
I feel like once in your mind you've decided you want to try, it consumes you. It's all you think of.
It's all you think about. And you just think about, all the things you're doing right, you're doing wrong, maybe you're doing this wrong or whatever it might be. Anyway, the borders ended up opening up, but only within Australia. So we went to Cairns.
Yeah, nice.
And that was in January 2021. Anyway.
We would have been in Queensland the same time.
Really?
We were on our mini moon
at
that time.
Oh, well, there you go.
So when the borders opened, interstate, we went to.
Yeah. So we went to Cairns and we're like, you know what? Let's just go away, get our mind off it. We didn't really get to go on a honeymoon. So it's almost like this is our honeymoon, you know? So we went there And anyway, towards the end of the trip, I, noticed boobs getting a bit sore and all these like little pregnancy symptoms. But I thought, nah, I'm just getting my period,
Because they're very similar.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so I said to my husband, we're on this boat and we're eating like fresh seafood, like fresh prawns and oysters. And I said to my husband, I'm like, I just don't think I should be eating this. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. And so anyway, we went and bought a pregnancy test. And then, we found out we were pregnant. And anyway, like we were all excited because, we'd been trying for, quite a while. Anyway, came home, told our immediate family, was, obviously all excited, get to the 7-week or the heartbeat ultrasound. And we get in and they're like, have you drank your water and all that to do your ultrasound? And anyway, he was doing it and he's like, I just don't think you've had enough water today. He's like, go to the toilet and then come back and we'll do an internal.
Oh.
And at that point, I was like, I don't know. Something doesn't seem right here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Had you ever previously done an internal?
No.
How daunting are they though?
Yeah. And I had a guy doing it as well.
The same experience happened to me. Sorry. But they're not nice.
They're not nice at all. Well, now I'm a pro at it, but I'll get more into that a bit later. So anyway, then I knew at that point when I was in the toilet, I was like, I don't know, something doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes in with the internal, finds the baby, and he's like, I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, God. And I just like broke down. Anyway.
Was your husband with you?
Yeah, he was. Thank God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was basically what they call a missed miscarriage. So it's where you don't show any symptoms of a miscarriage. So I didn't bleed. I didn't anything really. I had nauseous symptoms and
But that could be just pregnancy
symptoms.
symptoms.
Well, I was nauseous and then in like now looking back at it, the couple days probably before that ultrasound, my nauseousness maybe slowed down a little bit. So that could have been a little sign that I just didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't know. So the baby had essentially grown to 7.5 weeks and then probably just stopped a few days before that ultrasound. And we never really got any answers. I went in for a D&C, which is basically operation where they put you to sleep and basically take the baby out of you. And
was that procedure? Do you go into like hospital for that procedure?
Yeah. So I had to I had to get a referral to obstetrician because at that point I didn't have one. I was just through my GP.
Yeah.
And then met with the obstetrician. He pretty much got me in the next day to do the D&C. They basically put you to sleep under anesthesia and they do it all.
When you wake up, are you in a lot of pain?
Yeah. Yep. So when you wake up, bleeding, in pain.
So bleeding as if like you're getting your period?
Like you have your period basically.
Okay.
And after that, I actually get quite nauseous from the anesthetic.
Oh, okay.
So the way home wasn't too good. I was like making my husband stop so I can vomit on the side of the road. So anyway, so went in for the D&C and I kind of regret looking back at it because I didn't ask them to do any tests on the actual baby.
Okay.
I just thought.
Did they offer it?
Well, no, they didn't, which was quite strange because sometimes they offer it and you obviously have a choice whether you want to test it to see if like the baby was, was maybe chromosomal or whatever it might be. So essentially looking back at it, I'll really never know why I lost that baby. Anyway, so fast forward then a couple months and we're like, okay, like let's try again. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm going to start acupuncture. They say acupuncture helps. So anyway, I was doing acupuncture and was like, doing all that stuff where you check your ovulation and
Yeah.
all of that. And I'm going to say probably about 6 months after that, we were trying still and nothing was happening. And by that point, my husband, went and got his sperm
Tester.
checked and all of that. So it was all good. We didn't know what was going on. Anyway, and I have a friend who...
And this is in COVID, 2021.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of
In and
out of COVID,
Okay.
weren't we? We were in and out of lockdowns. So I had a friend who was going through IVF. And at this stage, she was actually currently pregnant. And she's like, you know what, Steph, just make an appointment. Go to a fertility doctor. They'll do all the tests on you and then just take it from there. Just see what they say. So at that point, I was like, okay. So I actually went to her fertility doctor that she was going to because I was like, okay, well, she got you pregnant. Okay, I'll go to her.
Yeah, let's try.
So anyway, make an appointment and, they make you get all this paperwork that you have to get, like a doctor's referral, whatnot, send it all off to them and essentially you wait for your first initial appointment.
Was it a long wait to meet her?
Honestly, every fertility doctor is different. We were able to get in with this particular doctor within a couple of months.
A couple of months is still a while.
Yeah, well, when you're trying, it is because every period is like a missed, opportunity sort of thing. So we waited a couple months. We went in to see her. She got me in to do a laparoscopy. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
And it's kind of that plus a DNC. So they essentially go in. So I had to go in for an operation at the hospital. And it's like keyhole surgery.
Oh, wow.
So they go in and check for like endometriosis, check if your tubes are blocked, all of that. But and they just pretty much
keyhole. It's not. They have to cut you.
Yeah. And obviously it's vaginal as well. So they'll go in through there. And basically just like a spring clean, I'm going to call it. Okay. So they pretty much clean you out. Anyway, came out of the operation. They're like, oh, you got a bit of endo, but it's nothing severe.
Okay.
You should be okay now. Anyway, we went on to do, we're going to start off with doing, what's it called? IUI.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a step that you can do before you get to IVF. Essentially, it's where they'll time your cycle.
Yep.
They'll get your partner's sperm.
Yep.
And when you're ready to ovulate or they know you're ovulating, they basically inject the sperm into your uterus. So it's like they're ready to go.
Oh, wow.
But what was happening with me is when they were doing the cycles, my body kept producing more than one mature egg, which meant that there was potential for twins or triplets.
Wow.
So
Could you imagine?
I know, right? So they wouldn't proceed because it can be a danger, apparently, like a dangerous pregnancy. So anyway, we went through this 2 times and then it got to the point where we're like, well, this is another 2 months of like
how did
lost
you feel
cycles, basically.
Like, when they said it could be twins or triplets, if it was twins, like how would you have felt? Would you have been like...
Yeah, I would have been fine. It's a blessing, you know?
Yeah,
but they were sort of like, no.
They want to make sure it's not a high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? So then basically at that point, we're like, all right, well, you know what? Let's just go straight into IVF. I'm done with this. We went into IVF, did my first like egg collection.
So is that you go to sleep again?
Yeah. So basically with IVF, they obviously we take injections to stimulate our ovaries.
So you have to inject yourself at home?
Yes, which I hated needles, but now I'm so used to them. But yeah.
So did your husband do it? Did you do it?
At the start, he did 1 or 2 for me until I got a bit more confident and I started to do them myself. And because when you're taking those injections, they're so timed. Everything has to be at a specific time. So it's too hard to rely on him.
Yeah.
Like to be there for
like
that specific time if he's at work or whatnot.
Gym, whatever, life events.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like.
But then that also makes you very structured with your time.
Exactly right. So, so anyway, essentially you take these injections to stimulate your ovaries to make more than one mature egg, basically. They want to make lots and lots of eggs.
And then they take them out.
Yes. So then you do what's called an egg collection, which is essentially an operation where they put you to sleep and collect all your eggs.
Now,
and
keyhole or no?
No, not keyhole for this. It's just all through the vagina, basically.
Okay.
So
man, this is already like what? 3 surgeries so far? Like 3 getting to sleep?
Oh, 2 at this point.
No, including the miscarriage.
Oh, well,
3.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
Oh my God, I didn't even, you're right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For your body before anything. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
So anyway, so we go through all of that. And basically we made like 2 embryos, I think that first time. We did what's called like a fresh transfer, which is basically, so you do the egg collection and then they'll mix the egg and the sperm together to make an embryo. So that's where I made 2 embryos.
Okay.
And
they're babies, essentially.
Yes, essentially, yeah. And then, 5 days later, they'll transfer one back into you.
Okay, because they have to make sure that it survives, right?
Yes, that it has to survive the 5 days to be an embryo.
Okay.
So after the 5 days, I had 2 basically. So we sent one off to be tested.
Okay.
And genetically tested. And the other one they put inside of me. And then you have what's called like a 2-week wait. So basically you're pregnant until proven otherwise is what they say.
Oh my God, that's intense, man.
So, anyway,
but the wait, that 2-week wait.
It is, I can't even put into words.
Messed up.
How messed up it is. And you're just so anxious the whole time. You feel like you can't do anything. Like I won't lift that because it might affect, the implantation and all of that. So anyway, we essentially got pregnant that first time, but it ended in what's called a chemical pregnancy. So basically it means that the embryo did implant, but for whatever reason possibly stopped implanting or stopped progressing.
Oh, wow.
So then when they do your pregnancy blood test to see if you are pregnant, there was a HCG there, but it was quite low. So then basically I had to wait for my period to come. And at that point, my other embryo was still being genetically tested. And we're getting close to Christmas at this point. So this was like December 2021.
Okay.
So we're like, you know what? Let's just do another whole IVF cycle.
Oh my gosh, you guys are like...
did that whole thing again, all the injections, the egg collection and all of that.
Can I just say, this to a marriage, like it either makes you or breaks you. And 100%. I'm so glad you and your husband like just stuck together just kept trying.
Honestly, like through everything we've been through, obviously I'll get more into our journey soon. But he's just been my rock.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like
we're really lucky to have good husbands.
We really are because you're right. Like the whole fertility journey, IVF journey and, and even, obviously even with everything we've both been through, like it can be really testing on a marriage.
100%. And for you guys to be like, after that happened, to be like, okay, let's do a whole nother round.
Yeah.
Like you're incredible.
It's not just like mentally and physically draining. It can also become a financial burden. Like
100%.
These IVF cycles
right?
are not cheap. And we just did 2 IVF cycles back to back, month after, like 1 month after the other.
Yeah.
So basically I went in, did another collection. We only made 1 embryo this time.
Okay.
I wasn't eligible for doing a fresh transfer because something to do with my levels. So anyway, then the clinic closes.
So they're tracking everything on you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you have that many internal ultrasounds with the wand wand, I call it. So when you're going through the IVF thing, you have so many blood tests and all those internal ultrasounds because they got to monitor everything basically. So we collected 15 eggs this time, and you'll see where the number 15 becomes quite relevant.
Yeah.
So we collected, they collected from me 15 eggs, and of that 15, only one egg fertilized, which means the sperm technically only fertilized one egg, which is like really bad, basically. Like usually about half fertilized. We only got one.
Wow.
So the chances of that one making it all the way to day 5 were like literally probably like 1 in 100. Like
very slim
Very
chance.
slim, basically. And somehow it made it. This one little embryo made it. And I was like,
is this Alessia?
Yes.
Oh, blah, blah.
And then they asked me if I wanted to test it, and I was like, no, like it's 1 out of 15. I do not want to test this one. I just want to transfer it. So anyway, we had to wait over the Christmas break and all that. And then in the new year, I don't know why, but we ended up having to wait until February. So I did a cycle like where they track your ovulation and whatnot, and we transferred this 1 out of 15 little embryo. And basically we got pregnant.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah. And this pregnancy obviously turned out to be my daughter, Alessia. And so the journey with her pregnancy, honestly, like besides obviously getting pregnant through IVF, and then during that first trimester, you're on a lot of medication because you got pregnant through IVF. So they put you on like blood thinners and all these steroids to suppress your immune system from fighting off the embryo and all this other stuff. So basically we got to the heartbeat scan and they're like, oh my God, everything's perfect. And
how did you feel going in there?
I was, pardon my French, but fucking shit scared. Like literally. Like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, it's fine.
I was shit scared because of the experience we had with my previous miscarriage. But when they said, like, hearing that heartbeat, like, it's like music to your ears.
Yeah.
Like, there's no better sounds in the world.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're like, everything's perfect and blah, blah, blah. And, and so essentially that first trimester, besides having, a lot of nauseousness, other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Did the nip test. That was all good. And then we waited a little bit to find out the gender because then we did, a little mini gender reveal at home. It was nothing,
but
over
it
the
means
top.
something.
But now looking back,
you're so grateful
all
you
of
did
those little things are just so like I hold on to them so tightly because they're little
Same.
memories that, we made with our little angels,
Yeah.
And
I say to Ange, like, thank God we celebrated him so much.
Yeah.
Because they're the only things that we can hold on to.
100%.
And I feel like you and your husband really understand this.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you guys celebrated Alessia.
Yeah.
And, like, all those little memories.
100%.
That's her life.
Like, or even, like, all the videos that I have of, like, us celebrating because we did the whole pop the balloon.
Cute.
And, all the confetti comes out and whatever. Like, I just rewatch those videos and just see, like, the happiness and excitement.
You're a different person in those videos.
Yeah. I don't – sometimes I don't even recognize that person I was before.
No, I can understand.
Yeah. But, so basically it was up until, like, that point it was pretty straightforward. And then, even the second trimester, everything was great. Did my 20-week scan. They're like, everything's perfect.
I love the 12-week and 20-week scan.
Yeah, you see everything, don't you?
And like the way that they're lying, like you can actually see them.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Yeah, it's like, and you see them move and you just, because they take a long time, you see a lot of them on the screen. So it's almost like you can see their little like personalities kind of thing showing.
I agree.
And I mean, like with, like with like what we've been through, it's stuff like that you really hold on to and you just try and like embed it in your mind. That's something you don't want to forget. So basically everything was good. Even when I did the glucose test at like 28 weeks, I remember.
How did you feel having the glucose test? Because I was
fine.
fine. Oh my gosh.
I actually liked the drink.
Me too. Okay, so going in, I heard like all these horror stories that the glucose test was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
When I had it, I was like, what are people talking about?
No, it was fine. If anything, it was just the waiting around.
The waiting.
That was a drainer. But looking back at it, it's like something that I love so much because when you would have the drink, it's so sugary. And I don't know if you felt this as well, like Leon moving around and kicking like crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah, like going nuts.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there and feeling Alessia move like you wouldn't believe.
Was your placenta at the back or the front?
I think it was at the back. So I could feel her really well because she was at the front.
Yeah, same as Leon.
Yeah. And then from there, I was planning my baby shower actually. And that was going to be in September, which essentially is a week before. It was meant to be a week after I actually lost Alessia.
And you work in the events industry.
Yeah, so I wasn't all about baby showers, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
But
I feel like everyone has their thing.
Yeah, but I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do one. And it was more because I am an event stylist. So I was like, I need to make my baby shower epic. Like, I need to do it. So that was the reason why I was like, all right, I'll organize one. So anyway, we get to the 31-week mark, which is where things sort of take a turn.
And at 31 weeks, you're heavy.
Yeah.
Like you're big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the 11th of September, so that was a Sunday, it was my birthday.
Oh.
So it was just such like, looking back at it, it was such a crazy day. Like I had my friend's little daughter, she had slept at my house the night before. Cute. So then in the morning, like I had to bring her back. I was trying to organize because we had people coming over that night for my birthday. I was trying to organize, like your cheese platters and your cakes and whatnot. But then my husband was also taking me out to lunch.
Cute.
So that day we went out to lunch and we had such a beautiful time, came home and then we had family and whatnot come over. But I was, getting ready for all of that. So I felt like this whole day I feel like I was not concentrating on movements.
Okay.
Or kicking or any of that.
Can I say one thing? I spoke to my nurse friend about this.
Yeah.
And she's a nurse. So I was like, she'll know.
Yeah.
And she goes, honestly, I go days where I kind of like, I'm not tracking, like I'm not thinking about it. And thank God, like her pregnancy was good and everything.
Yeah.
How much stress is it on the mum to track the baby's movements?
100%.
Every single day.
100%. And
so I just want because I think about this.
I know, and I get
do you get upset with yourself?
Yeah. I get really guilty.
Yeah.
But I feel bad because I feel like maybe if I had noticed that her movements had become less and less, that maybe there could have been something that I could have done to prevent. Like,
I think all mums feel that. But I just want you to know we physically can't be like, because then we'll go crazy, time every kick.
Yeah. And then, so basically that night, obviously I had people over for my birthday. And then my mother-in-law said something to me. She goes, oh, like, have you been feeling her move much? And I don't know, when she said that to me, I was like, oh my God, you know what? Now that you said it, I haven't really felt her that much today. Like maybe here and there, but then I was like thinking, nah, Steph, like you're being stupid. Like you've been so busy. There's no way you would have felt it because you've been moving around so much. Anyway, that just stuck in my head. So I went to bed that night and I couldn't sleep.
Did you tell your husband?
At this point, no.
Okay.
I couldn't sleep. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was laying there. I was like, come on, move. Like I was shaking her. I'm like, come on, just move
Do
for mum.
something,
Like
yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Like I just need to feel you. And I was like, I couldn't feel nothing. And then I was like, oh my God, you're just being stupid, Steph. She's probably just asleep or whatever it is. You talk yourself out of it because you don't want to
100%.
believe that something bad is actually happening.
And also, I feel like the bigger they get, it becomes rolls rather than kicks.
Yeah.
So the movements change. I felt like that.
100%.
I don't know if that's the same thing. Yeah.
Yep, same.
So then in my, like, I get it because sometimes you're like, was that a movement?
Yeah. Or sometimes, you're right. It could just be them like
Shifting their shoulders
yeah,
or
you
whatever.
don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I couldn't sleep properly that night. And then in the morning, hubby he had an RDO. So it was a Monday.
Love audios.
I love an RDO. And our plan was that day we were actually going to put the cot together that I'd just gotten delivered, and we're going to put some little things together for the nursery that had literally just been delivered and we hadn't put together yet. So anyway, he had gone to his dad's factory. I don't know. He had to do something for his dad.
Yeah.
And during this time, I had one of those little Doppler things.
Did you get one?
Yeah, I got one.
All right. My midwife yelled at me when I said I wanted to get one.
Yeah, looking back, I will. Yeah, midwives are so against them because.
Okay. So did yours say that too, or your doctor?
Later.
Oh, later.
Yeah, later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Sorry.
anyway, I went to put that on, and I literally couldn't get anything. And at that point, I was like, "Oh my God, no, this is bad. This is really bad." I was like freaking the F out. Like I was beside myself. I was at home. I was alone.
By yourself.
I called my obstetrician's office and they're like, I'm going to call the fetal monitoring team.
Yeah.
Come in straight away. But I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure if you just have like some cold sugary drink, like everything will be okay.
So, side note, you know they're not allowed to tell us that.
Really?
Yeah. Because apparently there's no fact, like medically, if you have something cold or something sugary, they're not allowed to tell you that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But she still said like, come in.
Yeah, come in.
But in the meantime, try doing that. Maybe it'll be all good. And I did, and there was nothing. I was like, fuck, like this is not good. I was trying to call my husband. His bloody phone was off. So I was literally waiting in my car in the driveway, ready for him to like come into my driveway. And at that point, I was bawling my eyes out, crying. Went to his car and I'm like, you need to get in the car right now. You need to drive. I can't drive. We need to go to the hospital. And that whole way to the hospital was just like dead silent in the car. Anyway, we go up to the hospital. They bring us to fetal medicine or fetal monitoring. That's it. And they put the little Doppler on, and one nurse is like, "Oh, look, I'm sure she's just there. I'm sure it's nothing." And then she's looking around. She can only pick up my heartbeat. And then she's like, "Oh, I might just get the other nurse." And then me and my husband are looking at each other like, we know where this is going.
Yeah.
I get the other nurse, and the other nurse is looking, and you could see the look on their faces.
Yeah, mortified.
Yeah. They're like, oh, but at this point, my obstetrician, my private obstetrician, she was actually overseas.
Oh, wow.
So there was like a step-in obstetrician.
Yep.
So
like someone from her team.
Yeah, well, someone else from the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Basically was like, her little step-in obstetrician. So basically they had to call this other obstetrician that I had never met before. Oh, they brought us up to her rooms, and basically we're like walking in like I can remember, but I can't remember walking in. Like she didn't even know our names. laying on the bed. She puts the ultrasound on. And I just see Alessia show up on the screen and she's like, I'm so sorry. Like she's gone. Like there's no heartbeat. And at this point I was literally like friggin' half naked with, you know, I don't know, all the ultrasound cream on me, and we were wearing like those, what do you call it? COVID masks, things, whatever. And I just broke down on the ground. I was like in hysterics, like this can't be happening. Like this cannot be happening, you know?
It's like the worst sentence in the world.
It's like there's no other words that you ever want to hear. And then like I never see my husband cry. Like I think I've seen him cry like maybe once or twice in our whole relationship. And I just saw him break down. And like, it just fucking killed me. Like, we were just both like, we just couldn't believe what was happening. And we were shouting out like, how is this happening to us? Like, why? Why are we being punished for, you know?
I remember the howling.
Yeah.
Did she leave you in the room? Did she leave you alone?
Later on, we got left in a room on our own. But at this point, like this obstetrician, she was like a godsend. Like she was so beautiful. She just like let us have our moment. And then she sat us down and she's like, look, I'm going to explain to you the next steps, but I do not expect you to remember any of what I'm saying. So then
Sorry, it's the same.
The same, yeah. And she basically was sort of saying, you know, like she explained the steps and she's like, I'm going to give you a pill.
To soften your cervix?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because I was like, they ended up making me not take the pill that day. They're like, take it the next day, because I was like hyperventilating. I was dry reaching because I was just like.
Your body went to complete shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're not going to give you the pill now because you'll probably vomit it back up. Like, because I was just in hysterics sort of thing. So
kind of smart on their behalf.
Yeah. So basically they explained the steps, and like straight away I was just like, I want to meet her. I need to see her. You know, like I didn't know what the steps were or what had to be done. Like all I knew was that in that moment I was like, I need to see my daughter, you know? And then, yeah, so she explained what the steps were, and that I had to take this pill to basically bring on the labor, and that they were going to book me in to go in and deliver her on the Thursday.
Okay.
Which was the 15th of September, which, going back to what I said before about the 15 eggs, 15 again.
So, quick side note.
Yeah.
Was she in the proper position to push? Like, their plan was for you to deliver naturally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the plan was to deliver her naturally. But also when I went in for that ultrasound, so this step-in obstetrician, she's what they call a maternal fetal medicine doctor.
Wow.
So she's got a bit of a different qualification than just a standard obstetrician. She's looks after high-risk pregnancies. So
what are the chances?
Yeah. So she has a little bit more knowledge of like when she looks on the ultrasound, like what to look for. And when she did look at Alessia and she told us that there was no heartbeat, she's like, she looks quite small.
Okay.
She's like measuring her. She's actually only measuring at like 28, 29 weeks, which essentially was like 2 weeks behind what I actually was. And then obviously later on I'll find out the reason why. But yeah, so she had picked up on that. So basically delivering her, it was, she was in the position, and they're like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to deliver her naturally. So
I just, obviously, before this happens to you or someone you know, you just, I don't know why, automatically my mind went, you have to cut me open. Like you have to you have to do a C-section.
Yeah.
I don't know why in my head when it happened, I didn't think that you could deliver naturally when your baby had passed.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I think, and like, obviously I get why they would prefer you to go naturally because it's not like
I'm really
there's
grateful
a risk
I did.
technically to the baby because the baby's passed already. So they want to do the safest thing for the mother.
Yeah.
And that is
But that's like
giving
knowledge
birth
I never
naturally.
knew.
Yeah, I never knew that too. And that's why when I found out that she had passed, I was like, I need to see her now. Like, I want to see her.
Yeah.
That was my first instinct, I guess.
That's mum's.
Yeah. And anyway, so if I'm being completely honest, I don't remember much between finding out that she had passed, which was the 12th of September, to then going into the hospital on the 15th of September. All I remember is during that period of time, it's when the Queen died. So there was all this stuff on the TV about the bloody Queen dying. And I just kept having to turn the TV off. I'm like, I don't want to know about the Queen. Like, I'm going through
So another public holiday. So you would have, because when the Queen died, we got a public holiday.
Yeah.
And I was like, why
you know
would we
what?
get
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I know you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But we got a public holiday. And
you're probably right.
me and Penelope both was on like it happened around public holiday. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, it's really blurred. Did you tell your family?
Well, can I be honest?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you went about it, but it's almost like I was scared to pick up the phone and to tell them because I didn't want to hurt them.
Why are we like this?
I don't know, but my husband, like, we were both the same. We were just like crying in hysterics, and I was like, you call. And he's like, no, you call. And I'm like, I can't. Like, we
feel guilty.
We feel guilty that we don't want to hurt them. But meanwhile, like,
we're the ones that
are going through like the most traumatic time of our lives. Like, we just lost our daughter. So anyway, once going back to like what actually happened at the hospital, once we had seen the obstetrician, they sort of put us in a room in the maternity ward. But they put us
far away
from any other mothers or whatnot. And we had some midwives like looking after us, and they took like, oh my God, probably like 10 vials of blood from me.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if they did that to you. They took all this blood from me because they're like, we're going to do all this testing so we can try and understand what's happened. Because at this point,
didn't happen. That didn't happen to me or Penelope.
No idea. And I think this all came down to the obstetrician I had because she was a high risk one.
Correct.
So she's like one of those people, what do you call it? Cross the T's, dot the I's.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we had to we're in this room, call our family, and then we were in no state to drive home whatsoever. So Simon, my husband, his parents came to pick us up. And yeah, I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot of it, but I just know that they came to pick us up. And then basically we were just told, take this tablet, all of that, come back on Thursday. Then
how did your family react to that? Were they worried about you? Like, as in the baby had passed away, still inside you, but then you have to go home and wait?
Yeah.
Yeah. My family were losing it.
Yeah. Like, I got home and like, bless both our families because they are just so supportive. My in-laws are like, you're not going home. Like, and plus our house was under renovation sort of at the time because we were like renovating to get ready for Alessia to be here. Anyway, so my in-laws are like, just like, we'll get somebody to go to your house, get some clothes, whatnot. Like, you're going to stay here because we don't want you alone.
Oh, that's
so
then sweet.
That night, like my mum and dad, my brother, like Simon, like all our immediate family plus my best friend and her husband, all came over to my in-laws' house and just stayed around. And like there were a few points in time that I remember like laughing at something.
Yeah.
And then I went to the room and bawled my eyes out crying because I was like, why am I laughing? Like
I'm not allowed to.
I felt so guilty. So that was one little bit that I remember. And I don't know if you like, I'm sure you do, like in those moments where you find out and so you know your baby's passed, but they're inside of you, and you can still feel them moving, but like when you touch your stomach, it was like super hard.
Really hard, but I thought, so the night when we went to sleep, after we came home from the hospital, I was looking at my stomach because every night when I would lie in bed, I would see his kicks.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at my stomach and I thought I saw a kick.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
your mind plays so many tricks
on you. And they say, you know, like phantom kicks.
Yeah.
That.
You know, I still feel them now.
Do you?
Yeah, it's really messed up.
I felt them in the very early stages.
Yeah.
But also, like, technically they are still inside of you and they're surrounded by fluid. So they do tend to rock around and stuff. So that was happening and it plays tricks on you.
And the hardness is
that was really hard to deal with. But yeah, and then basically went into the hospital on the 15th of September to have her. All the doctors and nurses, all the midwives, they were just so beautiful. I'm glad you had a good experience.
Yeah, I did too.
Really good experience. And then basically, like, I'll skip through all the labor and all that, but yeah, basically.
Was it just you and your husband for the labor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we went in there, we're just like, initially we actually sort of said we didn't even want anyone to meet her. We just wanted that time just on our own.
Yeah. We said the same. Yeah. And then you realise you want to share her with the people you love.
When she was born, you know, at that stage we got, you know, maybe an hour or two with her and then we're like, no, we want our family to meet her. But as well, we knew how overwhelming it could be. Yeah. So we sort of said, you know, no pressure, but we just want you to know that you're all welcome to come to the hospital.
Yeah.
So basically they, you know, got to meet her. But yeah, like during the labor, that was all. Like, I mean, it's pretty
weird.
straightforward. Yeah. I had the epidural because I couldn't deal.
Okay, can I just say, I love the gas.
Yeah.
And I love the epidural.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not putting myself through extra pain.
Yeah.
Like my mental pain that I'm going through is enough right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, had the epidural and then.
Did it hurt you? The injection? Like the epidural?
Not really, but I remember like after having the epidural, I got like the shivers.
And that is a side effect that they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, but like I know some people that have
uncontrollable shivers. Where
was your teeth going?
Yeah. Everything. So they had to give me like warm blankets, heat packs, all of that.
Yeah.
And then basically I actually had a nap. Like it was good. And then the pain started to intensify.
Yeah, same.
They gave me more, and then just as that happened, then my waters broke.
So your waters broke naturally?
Yeah, that's cool. Did.
Okay.
And then she was born at 3:15 p.m. But by hospital time, it's actually 15:15.
Yeah.
So
cheeky.
Again, it's like 15. The number 15.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much like the birth experience. And then, we got to stay in the hospital with her. We decided to, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. We only ended up staying in the hospital for about 24 hours with her.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the cuddle cot and stuff to keep her cool.
Yeah.
And she was with us. We stayed overnight, so the Thursday night, and then ended up going home on the Friday night, like evening, because I was all good. Like we could go home, but
thank God.
they sort of said, stay as long as you want.
Yeah, they said the same to us.
Yeah. But it was getting hard seeing her change. Her color change.
So did she stay in your room the whole time?
Yeah, she was with me the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I have big regrets. I delivered him at 1:11, cheeky monkey.
Yeah.
And we had him until like maybe 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And I saw the changes. And I had a chance to see him again the next day.
Yeah.
But we already agreed that like we want his body to rest.
Yeah.
But I have so many regrets of not seeing him longer, not holding him longer. But my husband always says, you're always going to regret not giving them enough time or not holding them enough.
Yeah. Like me, I was with Alessia for essentially 24 hours or just over. And still for me, I regret that wasn't enough.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like we're never, as mums, it's never enough time.
It's never enough time. So even if we were there for like 3-4 days even, you're still going to have that regret.
100%.
And I think that's just a normal thing of, when you go through something like this. So, so we got that time with her, but just seeing those changes is...
And they're quick, the changes.
Yeah. So she was changing colour.
And apparently they changed colour because they lost oxygen.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And was her skin a bit brittle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also she, like, her nose was like starting to bleed a little bit.
Yeah, Baba. Same. Same as Leon.
Like it was so like, looking back at it, like me and my husband were just like so careful when we were transferring her from like holding her from one person to another, and we were all like with the tissues, like wipe, like she was alive.
Yeah.
And the
way it just looks like they're sleeping.
Yeah, and the way we were talking to her and getting that attachment to her, it's like she was alive.
Yeah.
And that's when my husband's like, Steph, like this is not that it's not healthy, but
it's going to make
we're acting like she's here, like she's alive. The longer we stay here, the harder it's going to get. We're going to keep seeing more and more changes that are going to be really hard for us. And we don't want to remember her like that.
Our husbands would get along.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. And going back to the blood test thing I told you that we got when we found out. So basically we found out that I have high levels of what's called antiphospholipid syndrome.
Sorry?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know the word now, but I had no idea when they told me. So basically my body has like these antibodies that just produce more of the, I don't know what it's called, more of the antibody that basically makes your blood thicker to like make clots, basically.
Okay.
So
you're prone to blood clots?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And when you're pregnant, because your hormones and everything is like heightened, obviously you are more prone to blood clots, and the antiphospholipid syndrome gets higher. So basically now this is a thing that I've probably had for my whole life and just
never knew.
Never knew, because I had never had a blood clot before. Never anything. I never even knew I had a problem.
Wow. And she found this out from the blood test.
Yes, but apparently if I had had 2 or more miscarriages, I would have been tested. But because I had only ever had 1 miscarriage, I was never tested for this antiphospholipid syndrome. So anyway,
That makes me really frustrated.
I know. So the obstetrician's like, look, your levels are meant to be like, they're meant to be like 20. Mine were like 1,200, like crazy.
So could you have potentially died through this?
I mean, I don't know.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
know. Like,
it's your
really,
health as well.
It is. So the obstetrician's like, look, I can't say for sure, but I'm like 99% sure this is the reason why Alessia passed. So, yeah, so that was sort of like an answer that we got. And I'm sure you would know, like you had the choice whether you wanted to do an autopsy or not. At the start, I was like, I don't want anyone touching her.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it because I want to know for next time.
Yeah. If I've got regrets. Yeah.
But
you don't know.
You never know what's the right or wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And they're like, we promise we'll be so gentle with her, like all of that. So anyway, we decided to go ahead with the autopsy. And essentially, like, we ended up getting the results like months later, but the autopsy results came back for the placenta and they're like, there was multiple clots in the placenta, which basically indicates the antiphospholipid syndrome. So that's what they think it was because there were clots of blood and that coincides with having high levels of the antiphospholipid. And basically the autopsy for her came back perfect. But they just said she was a little bit small for her gestation. But that comes down to as well because my placenta would have slowly been dying off.
Okay.
Because of the blood clots.
Yeah.
So essentially it may have been a slow process of losing her. I don't know. I will never know. That it was maybe slowly cutting off nutrition to the babe, to Alessia.
Yeah.
So that's probably why she was a bit smaller. I mean, we will never know the full, like how it sort of happened. But in some way, like I'm glad that we got some sort of answer because
100%.
I know how common it is that people don't find out the reason. So yeah, that was that. And yeah, here we are. We're just still on our grief journey and now just trying for Alessia's little sibling.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're back on. Well, I guess now that we have an answer, we know how to adjust things for a future pregnancy.
So would that be like being on aspirin or like thinners?
Yeah. So right now I'm actually on aspirin as like an everyday thing.
Okay, for your own health.
For my own health.
Yeah.
But in a pregnancy, I would have to be on aspirin as well as blood thinning injections.
Oh, okay.
Now, I was on blood thinners when I was pregnant with Alessia, but only until the first trimester.
Wow.
So what the doctors said is they're like, we're so surprised with how high your levels were that she made it to as far as she made it to. And they're like, we think it was because you were on those blood thinning injections at the start.
She's a fighter. 1 in 15.
1 in 15.
She was a fighter from the start.
Yeah, she was. And the name Alessia actually means defending warrior.
Does it?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I just skipped over the whole funeral and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was...
Yeah, that's a lot.
That was a lot. That was like... And because we did the autopsy actually, we had to wait like 2 weeks. And you're right, there was the public holiday. Now that I think about it, you're right. Because I remember that it just took so long.
Yeah.
And then we decided to cremate her.
Yeah.
Obviously we had the option and I don't know. I just thought I want her with me at all times. And that was just our decision.
Yeah.
So we then had to, wait to get the date to go to the crematorium or whatever. And that whole 2 week. Oh, and it was 15 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was 15 days from when she was born to her funeral date. And
these are dates you don't pick. Like,
no, I
you
did
get
not
given.
pick that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the funeral home does everything.
Yeah. It's like
and
Leon's row. It's like M equals 13 and he's plot 11 and he was born 111, which is
111.
at the hospital's
24-hour time.
13, 11.
11.
So I say this all the time. I'm like, our angels, they're so special and they always remind like us that I'm here.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, so that's basically that 2 week or 15 days to the funeral. Just feel like a blur, honestly. I couldn't even tell you what I did, what I didn't do.
Apart from going through everything emotionally, how were you recovering after birth? Because your body went through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say pretty good on the like physically physical.
No, I say
was
the same.
okay.
Yeah. And were you like, did it empower? Like, it kind of gives you strength. Like, I could do this again.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, as like I always say this, like as silent as that delivery room was, it was honestly the most special and like empowering thing I've ever done in my entire life.
I say the same.
Yeah. So it's like weird because you're so happy to meet your child, but you're just so sad that they can't stay.
Yeah.
So
and like seeing what they look like,
seeing what they look like.
What did they take from you? What did they take from your husband? And
it's yeah, and it's just
hopefully we'll have some Earth babies.
I know.
Together.
Yeah, I hope so, and
at least our heaven babies are together.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're just on that.
So that journey,
back on the IVF journey, which is proving to be a lot more difficult than it was the first time to get pregnant with Alessia.
Yeah.
So that's why, looking back, she really was our little miracle. Because since her, we've done like 4 other transfers and like two or three other egg collections, and
wow.
Yeah, it's just been a crazy journey. So I'm hoping that soon we can have her little Earthside sibling, and I guess now we sort of know what to do in the next pregnancy. But in saying that, I mean, I'm sure you are probably the same. Because of all that trauma we've gone through, I'm almost really scared to be pregnant again.
I'm shit scared.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like this is Leon's home.
Yeah. I feel that
and
so
I don't
deeply.
I don't know if I'll feel bad if there's another baby in there, and I'll feel bad if I know it's a boy because I'll want it to be Leon. So,
yeah,
I said to Ange, God willing, if we get pregnant, I don't think I want to know the gender.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have those thoughts. But then at the same time, it's like I'm not giving that baby the same experience that Leon got, and I'm not going to build those really special memories that I hold so like close to my heart.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird thing to think about or experience.
Yeah, I feel that.
And Christmas is just not helping.
Yeah, this is going to be your first Christmas.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to hit as hard as it is.
It does. I'll tell you. I went through, like, obviously
we're very close to, our babies have very close birthdays.
Yeah. So obviously I was in your position last Christmas. And you know what? Just be gentle on yourself.
Yeah.
And
I can't go to the shopping centres.
Give yourself the grace that you need, because it's not easy. Even social media, seeing people post, their kids with Santa Claus and all of that. It's hard because you just, you wish that was your little baby celebrating his first Christmas. And I feel that so deeply, and I can just understand exactly what you're going through, and It's
My sister actually bought him his Christmas Day outfit.
yeah.
And I was thinking about it the other day. And like how cute he would have looked in it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know why when you lose someone you love around the holidays, it's just it's so much more harder.
You're right. It's magnified. You're
It's
right.
magnified,
It is. All those feelings just hit so deep.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't feel like celebrating,
Yeah.
just people will understand.
Yeah.
And if they don't understand, then
I don't know why. Like, I feel like in front of people, I have to act as if I'm okay
yeah,
because I don't want them to feel bad or,
yeah,
and I put up a front and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm all right, whatever. But deep down, like, Angie's the only one that sees.
yeah.
Like, I don't even want my mum to see it because I don't want her to feel,
You don't want them to feel
I'm a mum now.
bad or feel or worry about
Yeah.
you. And like, I don't know if you feel like this as well, but I feel like sometimes people might feel like they're walking on eggshells around me
Yeah.
with, you know, maybe what to say or how I'm feeling. And I just feel like I'm that drainer that like that's always sad all the time. And like people probably deep down know that, but know we're putting on a happy front. And yeah, so sometimes like I want to talk about my journey and about Alessia, but I feel like, oh, okay, you're probably just draining them still with like
Yeah.
your grief and stuff. So I think that's why sometimes we hold it in a little
Yeah.
bit. 'Cause
And
we
then
don't-
also sometimes I don't want to talk about him and then I feel guilty. I'm like,
Yeah.
just for a moment, I'll just not forget, but I don't want to be the mum that lost her baby.
yeah,
And then there's moments where I'm like, no, but that's me.
yeah, that is you.
And I don't like it. I find it really hard with my mum and my mother-in-law because now I can understand a mother's love.
Mm-hmm.
I can really, really comprehend what it's like to be a mum. And then I feel really guilty that if I don't show up, like don't show that I'm okay, it's going to kill them even more.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, and someone asked me, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I don't know how to ask if you're okay.
Yeah.
And I said, the fact that you said, I don't know how to ask
Yeah.
you is better than you saying, don't worry, try again next time.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God.
If you just tell me,
Yes.
I don't know how to talk to you, but I'm here for you, that is 1,001 times better than you saying something that you think I want to hear.
Yeah. Because people, I think it's just like
They do it out of such good.
human instinct
Yeah.
to try and put a positive spin on everything.
Yeah.
So it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
Just be positive, or
Yeah.
that's okay, you'll be okay, or you know, I could count like numerous things that people have said to me that I just try to let it go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you know, deep down in their heart, they're thinking like they're honestly not meaning it in a malicious way. They're
Yeah.
saying it to try and give you some strength and hope.
yeah,
And we appreciate it, but sometimes it's better to hear someone saying, I don't know what to say
yeah,
to you.
I have no words.
And I love you. And if you need me, I'm here.
Yeah,
That's it.
100%. And that can really just honestly go a long way. Like if you don't know what to say to somebody who's been through something similar, even if it be a miscarriage or
Yeah.
whatever,
Or just grief in general.
just grief in general.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to say to the person, just be completely honest and just say, I honestly do not know what to say to you, but please just know I'm here.
If you want to
and-
cry, if you want to talk,
Yeah.
or if you just want to like sit in silence and
And
eat.
sometimes that can mean so much more to
Yeah.
us than, or sometimes when people just ignore it in general and just don't even ask how you're going.
I had a thought about this and I told Ange and I was like, some people do just ignore it.
Yeah.
Like they don't say, like they don't recognize Leon.
yeah.
And he said those people might struggle with grief in their own life
Yeah.
and they don't know how to handle grief
Yeah,
in general. And I love his perspective because I feel like he brings me a bit more, like he calms me down a bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I get that. Like I understand if someone has gone through grief or if someone has never experienced it, they might deal with it differently.
100%. Yeah. 100%. So it's just one of those things where,
you just don't know what's right and wrong and you just have to ride the wave.
100%. And people are going to say, stupid things, but we can't let it, get to us.
Yeah. And just know it always comes from a good place.
Yeah.
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 I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. I feel like I might have.
That might have said 111.
Oh my God. Hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
Hi, we know you're here. Our little angels are here with us and they'll always be with us. So.
Yeah. If anyone needs any styling for events, just a quick plug.
Quick plug, Melbourne Event Styling.
Steph's incredible. I've seen one of her events before any of this happened.
Yeah, which is quite funny that we had cross paths before obviously meeting each other through our unfortunate, shitty circumstances. But yeah.
But it was like an epic set out. So if you need anything for events in Melbourne, please reach out to Steph.
Oh, you're the best.
I'll add it in the description.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for sharing.
No problem.
All right. Bye, guys.